Alright guys, let's go ahead and get this stock adapter in. It is a little bit fiddly. Hopefully I'll be able to get most of it on camera for you guys. It has a barrel nut, what I'll call a barrel nut. It has your actual adapter, and then it has a bolt here with a small washer on there. And basically it just fits into the bottom of the receiver. Take note that on the, what I'll call again the barrel nut, you have 15 millimeter stamped here. On the other side you have 74 100. If you have, depending on your rifle, if you generally have an AK-47, you'll want the 15 millimeter marking to be facing up, and it fits into, get you on here, it fits into that hole right there. The way that it works is this bolt goes through here and it will screw in like that, and then that gives you pressure and it holds it into the back of the receiver. So like I said, it is a little bit fiddly. It is a little bit of a tight fit, and you do kind of have to mess around a little bit with it, but it is nothing that's overly difficult or something that shouldn't take you more than probably about 5 minutes or so to do. Basically you have like a little hook here that's going to ride up against this part on the back of the what's it called, the trunnion. It will kind of slide in. They're generally going to be a little tight. You probably shouldn't have to do any grinding or anything like that. You can just take maybe a soft malleted hammer and kind of pound it in, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So I'm going to give it a couple of quick taps here using the old mallet. And it just goes right in. So I've got a little bit of Loctite, and it's just the medium strength of blue. And again, you will, see if I can get this on camera for you. You're basically going to just drop this down in here into this recess, and it can be a little fiddly. So in theory, that's what you do, is you just drop it straight down in there. It will line up, and if you're looking at the rifle, looking down on it, sort of facing this way, then you'll see the 15 millimeter there. So I'm going to see if I can't get this thing on here without it shifting too much. And we'll put a little bit of just again the medium strength blue thread locker on there, and it doesn't take a whole ton. And I suppose if you wanted to, you could use the red, but then it's going to be kind of a bear to get off. So again, all we're going to do now is, well, wouldn't you know it, my battery died on me. So anyway, you have the barrel nut, which is here, and all we're going to do is insert this bolt, which I have placed some thread locker onto, and you're just going to screw it in, make sure that they line up. And again, there's not too much to show with this. You just want to make sure that it engages, and then pretty much as simple as that, it'll go in. And what I'm doing with this is I've got my finger here pressed up against it, and then I put my thumb on it so it won't move, and then once you find it, you just go ahead and screw it in. Now I'm using a 3/16 hex wrench, and basically, again, it just screws in. And are we still on camera? Yeah, we're still on frame there. Now, as far as how tight you want it, you pretty much just want it snug. You don't have to over tighten it or, you know, make it to where you're going to strip stuff out or anything. But if you give it like a good tightening like that, it's not going to back out. There still is a tiny bit of a gap here. I don't think it's going to make any difference at all. All right, so now that we have our adapter into the back of the receiver extension tube goes on just like the way it would on an AR-15. You'll put your castle nut on there and screw it on. Again, you want the bigger opening toward the, what we would call the back of the tube. So that goes on, I guess you could say it goes on first, screw it all the way back. You'll take your end plate, which again has a little key section here that fits in there, a little keyway. And that goes on. Just be careful, these are aluminum, not to strip out those threads or be too rough with them. And then basically, it just, again, will screw right in. Again, these are aluminum, so you do want to be a little careful with them at first. And don't horse it, just make sure that it hasn't been cross-threaded. And it is just a matter of screwing that down, just like you would do on an AR-15. It will come to a point where it stops, and then what you want to do is you don't, let's say if it stops, but it stops and your tube is kind of like that. What you don't want it to be is cockeyed, so just get it as straight as you can. Go ahead and take a look at it from the rear and sort of make sure that it's lining up the way that you want it to line up. And let me double check this here off camera real quick. And that's a little crooked, so we'll go ahead and pull it back just a bit. And you can fine tune this stuff here a little bit. And then bring your end plate in. And then take your castle nut. And you just screw that up and that will secure it for you. And then just use your castle nut wrench and tighten that down. Again, you can torque it down to around, I believe the spec that they wanted on there was around 30 to 35 foot-pounds. And I will do that off camera. But for the purposes of the video, I will go ahead and just leave it here for now. In placing on your stock, again, it's going to be the exact same thing as a AR-15. I don't know if we can see in there. Okay, you can see the, let's see if I can get this down in here. That little guy right there is what under tension, when you go to adjust it, it gets pulled down. And that pin basically fits into these slots here, and that's why the stock, you can put it in there and it'll hold on. So in order to get the stock onto the back of the tube, you have to pull it down a substantial amount to where that pin goes all the way down. Otherwise, if you don't, the pin will stick up a little bit and it will hit on the back here, and you won't, on the back here, there we go, and you won't be able to get it in. So let's go ahead and get it started. So again, if I went to push it on, that pin is starting to hit and it's not going to allow it to go any further. But if I pull it all the way up, see if I can do it from this angle, then it will go on and it will slot into those. And if I want to adjust the length of pull, I can do that and you'll hear it click in. So now I have a very adjustable stock. I also have a very comfortable cheek weld. I have, if I end up running optics on this, which I do plan on doing, I do have a couple of compartments. Let's see if we can get them up there. Well, I'll have to do it at an angle. But I have a compartment on this side and one over here. And the little caps on this thing have a small clear O-ring. I don't know if you guys can see that right there, which if it ever gave out, you can replace it. O-rings or nothing. But it will let it go in, and I think I mentioned before that the cleaning kit that I bought separately, as a matter of fact, will fit down in here. I don't want to drop it all the way in because it might have a little bit of a time getting it out. I will probably need to run a little bit of a string down in that hole and kind of knot it so that I can have something to be able to go ahead and pull that out. But on the other side, you could have batteries, you could have whatever you would need in there that you would think you would need. So that. All right, guys, that is going to do it for placing an M4 adapter and a AR-15 style stock on a AK-47. Before we sign off, let's go ahead and talk about costs. Normally this stock would cost around $50 to $60. I got this particular one on sale from Damage Industries for $20. They were running a closeout. It is a mil-spec tube, and this is a mil-spec stock. The tubes generally, the receiver extension tube generally will cost anywhere from, I'd say probably $25 if you get them on sale, up to $39, $40, depending on what brand you're going to go with, also what type of aluminum you're going to use. The castle nut, $5, $6. Your end plate, depending on if you get them with something like the sling attachment points here, can cost you anywhere from $10 to, again, $20 or so, depending on what you want to get with it. The actual adapter costs about $69, and this was from Definitive Arms, was the manufacturer. I got it from the AK Operators Union store. However, the guys over at Rifle Dynamics make their own adapter, and it's about the same price, right around $69. Most of this stuff you can pick up on sale if you're a little patient for it.